Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to today's webinar on the topic live streaming BigBlueButton session on YouTube or Facebook. Thanks for joining us today. So let me start the session with a quick introduction. So myself Sasank here, I lead digital marketing at 3E. Along with me on the speaker panel, we have Mr. Anmol Prakash. Anmol is our VP operations and he also leads BigBlueButton solutions delivery. Before I pass it over to the speaker panel, let me give you a quick introduction about 3E Software Solutions. So we are a technology company providing e-learning solutions to training, education, and corporate industries. We are specialized in designing and developing full-fledged e-learning ecosystems. For example, LMS and e-commerce for training businesses, LMS and virtual classroom for academia and training, and LMS and ERP for corporates. Well, that is a very brief one-liner kind of intro of what we are. So Anmol will lead today's webinar and he will walk us through the benefits of streaming live classroom on social media channels with a quick demo. So as the session goes on, you may post your queries to me or Rexon over the private chat and we will take up your queries at the end of the session. So that's it to set the quick pace for the session. Anmol, now it is all over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sashank, for passing over the control. So, hello everyone. So, in today's webinar, we are going to see how live streaming can be done with BigBlueButton. So, the very first thing of the very first question which comes here is why we should use uh, live streaming functionality as part of BigBlueButton session. So, currently, it actually supports YouTube and Facebook. So why do we need this? So the reason is in some cases where you want to conduct webinars or you want to support a larger audience on a BigBlueButton session, if you want to broadcast some session and reach out to a bigger audience, then in those cases, live streaming with BigBlueButton becomes handy. Um, So another reason here is, as you know, each Big Blue Button session, it has got a limitation that it can support up to 150 users at max in one given session. And in fact, if you look at the community suggestions, so they suggest not to go beyond 100 users to avoid audio glitches and the video glitches in the session. So then if in those cases it makes sense that if you want to support a larger audience, more than 100 users say, so then it makes sense to have live streaming and reach out to your audience through a live streaming method. Now how do we do it? um, how do we live stream a button session? So it's in simple terms, we can understand it in such a way that the way we try to live stream here is we basically try to log in or join a session, actual session which is going on as a dummy user, and that dummy user will receive all the audio and the video feed. And once that feed is received, that can be dumped onto a CDN like YouTube or Facebook, and we can live stream that Big Blue Button session through YouTube or the uh, YouTube or the Facebook CDN using RTMP protocol. So as part of this session, I'll try to cover up the configurations and the terminologies which are involved, and then at later part I'll try to show you a live demo also that how these configurations can be done. So first I'll try to try to explain the different terminologies which are involved here in configuring the live streaming. So there is already a component, live streaming component available from the community side. It's basically a Docker image which needs to be run on a separate server. You can run it on the same BigBlueButton server, or if you want, you can run it on a separate server also. If you don't want to load up your BigBlueButton server, then it is always suggested to have a separate server. A small server should be good enough. It doesn't require a very big server. A 4 GB server should be good enough to run your Docker image for the live stream. Now, as part of this Docker image, what you will see is there will be certain configurations uh, which needs to be done before we can actually make this um, make this live stream possible. So now what you will see is this is one of the configuration file, and as part of this configuration file, you will have to configure the BigBlueButton URL. Okay, so this is the BigBlueButton URL which is configured. Then there will be a secret key against your BigBlueButton instance which you need to obtain. So I'll show you in the live demo that from where you can obtain this. If you already know this, well and good. Otherwise, if you don't know, you don't need to worry. I'll show you how to obtain these things. So then this is the meeting ID. So this is the meeting ID of the session which you want to live stream, and I'll also show you how to obtain this. So these are the important parameter which needs to be configured at the Docker image, and then there is another important parameter, that is BibliobuttonStream URL. This basically decides the CDN. So suppose if you want to do the live streaming through YouTube, then the YouTube specific stream URL has to be configured here. If you want to do it for Facebook, the same thing applies over here, or applies for Facebook here. So to obtain your meeting ID, there is one thing which you need to understand is uh, before you live stream, you must start your meeting, and once you have launched the meeting, then you can get the meeting ID. There is a simple way you can use. There are other ways as well. If you have done a custom integration with your solution, if you have done a custom integration of BigBlueButton with your solution, then you might be storing the meeting IDs into your database. But if, let's say, you don't know how to obtain the meeting IDs, then there is a tool which BigBlueButton provides, that is called API Mate. And in that, once you will go to the API Meet, you can pass on your server URL and the shared secret key, and then call this get meetings API after starting your meeting which you want to live stream. So as a response, you will get an XML response here, and in which you can see the meeting. I'll show you that as well as part of the live demo. But yeah, this is one of the easiest way, I would say, that you can obtain your meeting ID. Now, coming to the configurations on the YouTube side. So to start a live streaming on YouTube, first you need to create an event over there, and you can go to studio.youtube.com, and there you can create an event, and as part of the event, you will get the certain unique information like uh, stream key, and then there will be a stream URL. Okay, so these stream key and the stream URL, once you will combine them, you can configure it as part of your Docker image. So if you are planning to do the live streaming through YouTube, the same applies in case of Facebook as well. So first you need to go to your Facebook page, and there you need to start streaming. And once you go to the streaming, then it gives you different options. So one is use stream key, use camera. So you can start the streaming using a camera as well. But if, let's say, you want to do the streaming through BigBlueButton, then in that case you need to use this option, use stream key. Copy the server URL and the stream key, combine them together, and use it under your configuration file, Docker configuration file, and configure it over there. So, let me show you a live demo. For that, I'll start sharing my screen. So what I'm going to do here is I have two servers. On one server, I have installed this Docker image, which is going to help me live stream my meeting. I'm logging in there. And another server, I have my BigBlueButton. So I've logged in there now. So let me clear this. Here I'm going to go under my Docker image, and I have got this docker compose.yml file. So this is how the configuration file looks like. This is the same thing I was trying to show through the screenshot. Now this BigBlueButton URL. So let me show you how do you obtain this BigBlueButton URL and the secret key. For that, I have logged in into my into the Linux server where I have installed a BigBlueButton instance. So for that, you must have the to obtain the secret key and the URL. You must have the sudo access. Since I am a root user here, so I won't be needing a sudo access explicitly. I can just type in this bbb conf and secret, and here you will have the URL and the secret key. The same thing can be copied and pasted over here as part of the different parameters which it is asking for. I've already done that. It's just that I wanted to show you how to obtain this. Now coming to how to obtain the meeting ID. So this is a API made link. Actually, BigBlueButton automatically provides this link. It generates a link, and it keeps it ready. So once you will execute this command, it will be available to you. Just you need to copy this whole link, and what you can do is you can go back to your browser and paste this. So here you will have the pre-configured secret key and the server URL, and you will see all the endpoints which are available. So let me start a quick another meeting so that we can see the demo. I'm going to my Greenlight software, and I'm going to launch a meeting under my home room. I've
Only person in this conference.
joined using audio only so that it doesn't conflict with the current webinar which we're conducting. Now, right now, you can see I am the user as the moderator here, and the next thing which I need to do here is I need to get the meeting ID. So for that, I have this get meetings endpoint. You just need to click on it, and in turn, what you're going to see is you're going to see see this XML response, and you can see the meeting name is homeroom because I started a meeting which has the name homeroom, and I need this meeting ID for my configuration. So I'll just copy this and I'll go back to my configuration file. So now on my configuration file, the meeting ID is mentioned here. Let me remove the ID. Copied that meeting ID over here. Now these three parameters are now configured. So the next parameter which I should be worrying about is the stream URL. Okay, so let me remove this. And to obtain this stream URL, we need to go to studio.youtube.com. You can go over here, studio.youtube.com. And if you will have to log in first. If you're not logged in, then it will prompt you to log in. The next thing which I have to do here is I need to click on this go live option. I'll click on this, and then it will present you with this interface. So one thing is you can make use of the by default available event, or you can go under this manage section. Under manage section, if you have already created some event or upcoming event, you will see the list. So since I have already created, for this demo sake, I've already created one event over here. I can click on this. Now, right now, what you see here is there is no streaming software connected to it, so it's not showing any stream right now. What we now need to do here is we need to copy this stream URL, go back to our configuration, paste it over here, and then copy the stream key as well and paste it over here. So now once this configuration is done, you can save this configuration file. So all our configuration is our Docker image is ready with all the necessary configuration. And the next thing what we need to do here is we need to start streaming. So to start streaming, you just need to run a simple command that is to start your Docker, to basically upstart your Docker container. So this is a simple command you can use. Docker-compose up. D is used for to start it in the daemon mode. So once you get that done option, what you will see here is there is a live user which is automatically joining in here. Okay, and what it is saying is this meeting is streamed to a.rtmp.youtube. So what it is telling me is that now the streaming has started on YouTube. So let me go back to this YouTube page, and what I can see here is whatever is being presented as part of this meeting, the same thing is now coming up on the live streaming side. So this is how the live streaming can be configured. The live streaming component can be configured with BigBlueButton, and after which the live streaming can be started. So this was one quick demo which I wanted to do. I hope this must have given you a fair idea about how to use the live streaming uh, component and configure it, and then make use of it to live stream your BigBlueButton session on either YouTube or Facebook. So whatever I just showed to you as part of YouTube, the same way it can be done for Facebook as well. So at this point of time, if there are any question and answers, we can read questions and we can take up those. Let me check. How to download BigBlueButton recording to share offline with students? There's one question coming in. Actually, it's a bit out of topic, but let me answer that for you. So as of now, BigBlueButton doesn't have the capability inbuilt to download the recordings directly. Okay, but we have built one solution. I can quickly show you a demo as well if you want. That how it works. Let me do a demo quickly. So this is currently we have integrated with Greenlight software. So suppose as part of my home room, these are the room recordings I have. There are multiple quick recordings which we have. Now we have also introduced to an option here to download this. Okay, so now this is one this is the session, or this is the link which BigBlueButton provides, but on top of that we have added another option to download this. So once you click on download, it starts downloading the video into an MP4 format. So this is something which we have additionally added. It's not by default available as part of BigBlueButton software, but if you are looking for a similar kind of a solution, then you may contact us at 3b_info@3softech.com. So once that video is downloaded into MP4 format, then you can distribute it through different channels. If you want, you can upload it to a Dropbox repository or to a Google Drive or to some S3 bucket, Amazon S3 bucket, and then you can start sharing the link with your students. So that's one way of distributing it offline. So second question is, can I share the live streaming session publicly? Yeah, that because ultimately once the live streaming starts, the live streaming link will be available from the YouTube side or from the Facebook side. So that link can be shared at any of the platforms. So you can always decide on the permissions and the privileges you want to set for your live streaming URL. So if you want to keep it private and you want to restrict it to some set of people, then you can always set that those restrictions at the YouTube or Facebook level. But yes, what you asked for, if whether it can be shared publicly, yes, of course. If you are setting the permission in such a way that your live streaming can be accessed, the link can be accessed by anyone, then in that case, yes, it will be available publicly. So second question, another question is, can we automate download of BigBlueButton recordings? Yes, the one which I just showed to you as part of the demo, that is already automated. It's just that we need to install additional component which will take care of converting the recordings into MP4, and that will happen automatically, and after which you can download it. Now, if your question is about moving it to some other repository automatically, then yes, even that can be done, but that requires additional scripts to be added. And if you have if you're choosing a specific repository to where it needs to be moved, then we will have to customize that script accordingly. So suppose if your requirement is to move it to some specific repository which you might have taken it from some vendor for which we have not automated it so far. So then in that case, we need to work with their APIs and then create a script specifically and ensure that decide on at what frequency these downloads or these recordings should be moved from the BigBlueButton server to your desired server. So that's a custom work which we have to do to additionally automate it. I hope I have answered your question here. So the last question which we have here is, can I configure a meeting room to record all meetings by default and give a prompt to stop recording if I don't want it? That if I understand the question correctly, what you're asking for is to initiate the recording by default and stop it only uh, when a moderator forcefully stops it. So if that is your question, then yes, that is possible. Meetings can be by default started with in the recording mode. Okay, so that is quite possible. and it needs to be configured at the BigBlueButton properties level. So we can configure it and um, ensure that any meeting which is starting in across the BigBlueButton server, right, that starts with the recording by default. So another follow-up question here is, can an admin disable recording for specific users or meeting rooms? Um, what admin can do is, if you are using Greenlight software, in that case, it is possible. Actually, in the Greenlight, you have an option to create different roles. So what you can do is, while creating a specific role, you can deny the access of recording initiation. So they may have the option to start a meeting, but they may not have the option to record the meeting. So you can create a role and then put all the users who you want not to initiate the recording. So you can just group them together as part of that role, and you will be able to achieve. But if you want to achieve this as on the API side, then probably we'll have to check it how we can achieve it. It should be possible. It's just that we need to figure it out. What could be the right solution for it? So another question coming in here is, can an admin disable download for specific users or meeting rooms? I think it's the same. That there might be security reasons for business or business reasons. Yeah, I think I've tried answering that. It's the same thing uh, which you asked. I understand that there might be security reasons, the business reasons behind it. So the way it can be achieved on the Greenlight side is, I've already told, you can create a separate role, and uh, disable them, disable the access for recording. Even on the API level, there it should be possible. It's just that we'll have to figure out what parameters needs to be passed from your solution. Suppose if if you have integrated, if you have done a custom integration with your solution, you might have your own LMS, or you might have your own UI through which you are launching the BigBlueButton session. So in that case, you'll have to look at the parameters and which needs to be specifically passed on the API side, so that this uh, recording of the session can be restricted for certain users. So I think I've tried answering all the questions. If you still have more queries, or if you want to inquire about any of our services, then you can drop an email to 3b_info@3software.com. Our team will be able to get back to you as soon as possible. So I think hope this session was helpful to you. Prashant, you can uh, take it over.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Anmol, for the great presentation. So this concludes the webinar. Thank you all for attending. We hope you have learned and enjoyed the presentation. We will close the session now.